Flacco was quarterbacking, and I got that. And you don't look at the Cleveland Browns as being a juggernaut offensively. But Cincy's defense was so awful, we thought a Pop Warner team could drop 30 on them. So the fact that they showed up yesterday and handled their business to some degree is cause for pause to have a little bit of faith in them, because I have zero concerns about an offense stewarded by Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase as your primary weapon. I have zero concern about the Bengals offense.
What happens when the NFL's most sacred locker room turns into a full-blown reality show? In Cleveland, chaos isn't just happening on the field. It's leaking from every corner. And one rookie quarterback is right at the center of it all. Shedeur Sanders, a fifth-round draft pick with superstar potential, has been kept on the sidelines while the team struggles through one humiliating loss after another. Sources say frustration is boiling over, players are whispering, coaches are sweating, and the front office is scrambling to contain a situation that's gone national.
Is he improving? Is he being developed by the Cleveland Browns?
Riz, history would tell us probably not.
Right there, boom. He's not even being developed by the damn Cleveland Browns. They just got him there holding a roster spot because they don't want to see him shine anywhere else. They don't want to be the headlines of bad stories again, just like they are with Baker Mayfield. Because they know if they trade Shedeur Sanders, he gonna go somewhere else and shine. Because for whatever...
Every day brings a new leak, a new rumor, and now the tension has reached a breaking point. Fans are furious, insiders are talking, and the locker room has turned into a powder keg. By the end of this story, we'll see why Shedeur Sanders' presence or absence might be the single most explosive story in the NFL right now, and why Cleveland could be on the verge of a dramatic turning point. Sunday's matchup against the Baltimore Ravens was supposed to be just another divisional clash, but for the Cleveland Browns, it turned into a catastrophic meltdown that left the entire franchise reeling. The scoreboard didn't lie, 41-17. Humiliation doesn't even begin to cover it. From the opening drive, the Browns' offense looked unprepared, sluggish, and painfully predictable. Joe Flacco, the aging veteran, thrown into the starting role once again, struggled to find rhythm. His passes were off target, the timing between receivers non-existent, and the turnovers piled up faster than anyone could keep track of. A pick six in the second quarter left fans shaking their heads, and by halftime, the stadium buzz had shifted from nervous anticipation to stunned disbelief. But the real story wasn't just the points on the board. It was the energy or lack thereof, emanating from the sideline. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie quarterback sitting on the bench, watched the disaster unfold with a mix of frustration and disbelief. According to insiders, every misstep from Flacco and even third-rounder Dillon Gabriel only intensified what had been simmering tensions for weeks.
Like more of the Browns locker room is leaking information out about Shedeur Sanders. In areas of a football team you want to keep guarded with the safe space is the locker room. One place that is definitely in jeopardy of losing any security, anything being secret, is the Cleveland Browns locker room. Now, I am here to tell you, the locker room has been leaking information to Browns insiders for the last week. I mean, it's so much information to the point that every day something new was coming out of the...
Sanders had been ready, sharp in practice, and clearly capable of igniting the offense, yet he remained sidelined while Cleveland stumbled through what would become a historic defeat by the fourth quarter. The Browns' struggles had taken on almost a surreal quality. Plays broke down with astonishing frequency, miscommunication ruled the day, and the lack of leadership on the field was glaring. Fans in the stands, who had patiently endured years of quarterback instability, erupted into chants demanding change. The energy in the locker room, normally a fortress of strategy and camaraderie, reportedly began to fracture under the weight of frustration, blame, and embarrassment. This wasn't just another loss on the season's record. It was a catalyst. The Ravens had exposed weaknesses that had been festering for months. Offensive strategies failed, veteran quarterbacks underperformed, and the rookies sitting quietly on the bench became the symbol of everything the Browns weren't doing right. By the final whistle, it was clear. Cleveland was at a crossroads. The 41-17 defeat was more than a scoreboard blowout. It was the breaking point. The moment when tensions inside the team could no longer be contained, And as rumors of locker room unrest and growing player frustration began leaking out, it became obvious that Sunday's loss was only the beginning of a storm that could reshape the Browns' season. Entirely what happened after the Ravens game quickly leapt from embarrassment into full-blown controversy. And the epicenter was none other than Shedeur Sanders. Reports suggest that roughly 45 minutes after the final whistle, Sanders retreated to a private area and went live on Instagram. What he said in just 20 seconds didn't just echo around. Clavin did reverberated across the entire NFL. "I told y'all this ain't on me, this on them. I was ready. The guys know I was ready, and we lost because I wasn't out there. Point blank, period." Though short, the statement was surgical, slicing through weeks of carefully constructed narratives from the coaching staff. Sources claim team officials scrambled to contain the fallout, contacting Sanders representatives, convening emergency meetings, and frantically crafting damage control messages. The timing alone suggested this was not a spontaneous outburst, but the breaking point of mounting tension. Shedeur, they say, had quietly tolerated being sidelined behind Joe Flacco and third-rounder Dillon Gabriel, following all team rules, supporting teammates, and performing in practice, but Sunday exposed the frustration that had been quietly building. Social media exploded almost instantly.
The Cleveland Browns of the National Football League have one of the best quarterbacks on their team in hostage. Well, who is that, B-Watch? Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders should be starting this Sunday for the Cleveland Browns against Lamar Jackson and about
Hashtags like hashtag Fire Stefanski and hashtag Justice for Shedeur began trending nationally, and Browns forums filled with fans demanding Sanders start immediately. Reportedly, season ticket holders even began organizing demonstrations outside the team headquarters. Players, too, were reacting behind closed doors. Some openly supported Sanders' position, while others were cautious, wary of openly challenging the coach. Sources describe a locker room suddenly divided, part rebellion, part concern, and every whisper, amplified by insider leaks that made Cleveland's so-called private safe space feel more like a reality show set than a professional football environment. This viral flashpoint didn't just affect the Browns. League insiders suggest it caught the attention of executives and even NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, who reportedly expressed concern over how the situation might impact ratings, merchandising, and broader league interest. Meanwhile, fans and analysts alike debated whether Sanders' bold move was a genius power play or a dangerous challenge to authority. Either way, the spectacle had everyone talking. The rookie sitting on the bench was suddenly the story. The coach was on the hot seat, and the Browns' season had entered uncharted, potentially explosive territory, behind the closed doors of the Browns' locker room. Sources suggest chaos has been simmering long before Sunday's Ravens debacle. What should have been a protected, private space, the team's vault, has reportedly become a leaky reality show, spilling drama to insiders and media alike. Players are said to be openly questioning coaching decisions, side-eyeing each other, inventing frustration in ways that go far beyond typical post-game tension. The whispers aren't just rumors, they're snapshots of a locker room in survival mode, where loyalty is strained and every move is analyzed. Multiple insiders claim the divide is growing along clear lines. Offensive skill players are reportedly rallying around Shedeur Sanders. It's convinced he's the quarterback who could actually salvage the season.
Battle 40-year-old Joe Flacco. That's their answer at quarterback. And they drafted Dillon Gabriel in the third round and then put through the Shedeur, the most popular player in the draft, they threw in the fifth round, and they say it's a value pick. When they say it's a value pick, the value is what? You're not giving him a chance to start. You're not. They won't even let him play the ones in practice. Why did they draft him?
Everybody knows Shedeur is the guy, one anonymous veteran told reporters. Meanwhile, some team leaders appear cautious, wary of openly defying Kevin Stefanski. Defensive players are trying to remain neutral, but sources say even they privately acknowledge the offensive struggles, creating a subtle tension that's impossible to ignore. Every practice, every meeting seems to amplify the split. turning ordinary preparation into a high-stakes chess match of trust and power. Meanwhile, reports suggest Stefanski is losing control. Sources claim he's frustrated by leaks and mounting pressure from players and media alike. Every sideline glance, every decision to stick with Dillon Gabriel or Joe Flacco instead of Sanders is being dissected. Rumors even suggest that some staff members are quietly questioning Stefanski's authority. Unsure how much longer he can maintain cohesion when the locker room is openly discussing rebellion and talent being withheld. The stakes are enormous. Players, insiders, and even league observers reportedly agree this isn't just about one game. It's about credibility, organizational control, and the future of a highly touted rookie who has been treated like a hidden asset rather than a team leader. Fans have begun to notice too, and social media amplification ensures nothing stays private. Every leak adds fuel to the fire. And the Browns' safe zone now feels more like a pressure cooker ready to explode at any moment. In short, Cleveland is no longer just losing on the scoreboard. It's losing the narrative, the locker room, and possibly the confidence of its rising star. The question remains, how long can Stefanski survive this storm, and will Sanders finally get the shot he's been waiting for? The Browns' chaos didn't stop in the locker room. It reportedly reached the top levels of the SD organization almost immediately after the Ravens' loss. Sources suggest owner Jimmy Haslam was furious, not just about the 41-17 blowout, but about Stefanski's stubborn refusal to put Shedeur Sanders on the field. Insiders claim Haslam demanded an explanation, confronting Stefanski in his office in a heated exchange loud enough for staff outside to hear. According to multiple reports, the conversation centered on a single, piercing question. Why is Sanders still sitting while the offense collapses in front of everyone? This wasn't a casual critique, it was a power move signaling that ownership is actively questioning Stefanski's decision-making. Industry insiders reportedly confirmed that Haslam has reached out to trusted advisors across the league, exploring contingency plans in case a mid-season coaching change becomes necessary. The pressure isn't hypothetical. It's real, immediate, and very public. Sources suggest that if Stefanski continues to ignore mounting evidence favoring Sanders, his job could be on the line before the season ends. Meanwhile, the ripple effect is spreading throughout the organization. Front office executives are said to be scrambling, trying to control messaging and anticipate player reactions. According to insiders, communication staff are crafting multiple contingency statements in case Sanders finally gets reps or even starts while ownership evaluates whether Stefanski can regain authority. Every decision is being scrutinized under an unrelenting spotlight. From quarterback reps in practice to who gets fielded during game situations, rumors indicate this isn't just a quarterback controversy, it's a leadership crisis. Players reportedly sense the tension and are adjusting their behavior accordingly. Some veterans are said to be privately siding with Sanders, seeing him as the legitimate team leader, while others are hesitant to fully commit, fearing backlash or favoritism accusations. The Browns' organizational cohesion is reportedly fraying as each week passes. With Haslam's direct involvement intensifying scrutiny at all levels, the underlying drama is clear. Cleveland is no longer just losing on Sundays, it's losing control over the narrative, the locker room, and potentially the career trajectory of its most promising rookie. Ownership's impatience, combined with a restless locker room, sets the stage for a high-stakes showdown. Everyone is watching. Fans, league executives, and even rival teams, all eager to see how the Browns will handle this unprecedented pressure. The question looming over Cleveland is simple yet explosive. Can Stefanski survive this storm? Or will Sanders' talent finally force the hand of ownership? Almost immediately after the Browns' humiliating loss to the Ravens, social media erupted. Fans didn't just vent frustration, they created a frenzy. Hashtags like #PlayShedeur, #FireStefanski, and #JusticeForSanders began trending nationally within hours. Across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, highlights from the game and snippets of Sanders' growing sideline frustration circulated like wildfire. Every misstep by Joe Flacco or Dillon Gabriel was amplified. dissected, and compared to Sanders' potential, turning the conversation into a nationwide debate about Cleveland's quarterback strategy. Insiders report that fan forums and Browns-related Reddit threads became almost unmanageable, with posts ranging from supportive calls to start Sanders immediately to harsh criticism of Stefanski for ignoring evidence of the rookie's talent. Even local sports radio shows were overwhelmed with callers demanding changes, with some season ticket holders reportedly organizing protests outside team headquarters. The frenzy isn't just about frustration, it's about perception. For the first time in years, the Browns fan base, usually fractured and divided, seemed to unite behind a single cause: Sanders deserves a shot. Meanwhile, league-wide interest intensified. Analysts on ESPN, Fox Sports, and other networks dissected every aspect of the quarterback controversy, using Sanders as the focal point. Former players and pundits openly questioned Stefanski's judgment, often highlighting the rookie's electrifying practice performances as proof that Cleveland was sitting on a future star. Rumors circulated that other teams were watching closely, ready to pounce if Sanders were ever made available, turning social media outrage into real-world leverage for the young quarterback. The pressure isn't confined to digital platforms. According to sources, the Browns' internal communication staff were scrambling to manage the fallout, tracking viral posts and attempting to control leaks.
You know I'm the biggest Shedeur fan in the world. There's nothing he can do Friday to win the job to start against the Bengals. Let's get that out of the way right now. What Shedeur can do is he can change the narrative. The narrative is the Browns don't see him as a franchise quarterback.
Players reportedly felt emboldened by the public support for Sanders, which only added tension within the locker room. Social media isn't just amplifying fan voices, it's magnifying organizational cracks, turning minor disputes into headline-making controversies. In short, Cleveland has become the epicenter of an NFL social media storm. The combination of Sanders' potential, Stefanski's rigidity, and a restless fan base has created an environment where every post, tweet, and highlight carries weight. For the Browns, it's no longer just about winning games. It's about controlling the narrative, protecting players, and navigating a fan-driven pressure cooker that shows no signs of cooling down. And as the storm grows, one question looms larger every day. Will the public outcry finally force Sanders onto the field? Or will the Browns hierarchy cling stubbornly to a disastrous plan? Inside the Browns facility, the drama took on a life of its own. Sources described the locker room as a powder keg, with tension so thick it was almost tangible. Normally, this space is treated as sacred ground, a place for strategy, trust, and camaraderie. But in Cleveland, it had transformed into a war zone. Players weren't just frustrated, they were openly questioning coaching decisions, comparing notes about Sanders' treatment, and in some cases, quietly undermining the established hierarchy. Offensive skill players reportedly rallied behind Sanders, viewing him as the only quarterback capable of turning the season around. "Everybody knows Shedeur is the guy," one veteran anonymously told a local reporter. "Watching us get embarrassed out there while he's holding a clipboard? That's on the coaches." And Shedeur let the world know it. Their loyalty wasn't just passive, support it was active, vocal, and increasingly public. The divide between players supporting Sanders and those hesitant to challenge Stefanski's authority created a dangerous mix, one that threatened team chemistry and performance. Defensive players, meanwhile, tried to remain neutral, but even they admitted privately that the offense's struggles were largely preventable. The atmosphere reportedly became a delicate balance between survival and solidarity. Every practice session, every sideline conversation, carried the weight of the ongoing mutiny. Insiders note that the coaching staff was acutely aware of the growing unrest and struggled to maintain control without escalating tensions further. The friction wasn't limited to players. Reports suggest that front office executives were increasingly concerned. Ownership, specifically Jimmy Haslam, allegedly confronted Stefanski about his refusal to give Sanders meaningful reps. Sources describe heated discussions where the coach's credibility, not just strategy, was on the line. Meanwhile, social media and fan pressure only amplified internal conflict. as players could see the overwhelming public sentiment favoring Sanders. In effect, Cleveland's locker room had become a microcosm of the broader chaos. A talented roster divided, coaching staff under siege, and a rookie quarterback caught in the eye of a storm he didn't create but might ultimately control. Every interaction, every whispered critique, had consequences. And the mutiny wasn't just symbolic. It had real implications for the Browns' season. What happens next depends less on game plans and more on whether leadership can navigate a team divided against itself, or if the rebellion will escalate into a full-scale organizational crisis. As the Browns' season teetered on collapse, ownership reportedly stepped in, and not quietly. Sources indicate that Jimmy Haslam was furious not just about the humiliating 41-17 loss to the Ravens, but specifically over the decision to keep Sanders on the sidelines. The public outcry, combined with social media pressure and locker room whispers, allegedly prompted an emergency meeting with Stefanski immediately after the game. Accounts describe Haslam cornering the coach, demanding an explanation for why the quarterback with the highest potential wasn't being given a chance to lead the team. The tension was reportedly so intense that staff members waiting outside could hear every heated word. Inside the meeting, Stefanski faced a precarious situation: to maintain his predetermined quarterback development plan or risk losing ownership support. Sources claim Haslam repeatedly questioned the coach's judgment, asking why Sanders hadn't been given first-team reps or a starter opportunity. The confrontation highlighted a dangerous dynamic. Stefanski's professional credibility was at stake. While the rookie quarterback's talent and potential started eclipsing traditional hierarchies, the fallout from that discussion, insiders suggest, could determine whether Stefanski retains control or becomes the latest casualty in Cleveland's pattern of mid-season coaching. Shakeups reports further indicate that Haslam has already been consulting league contacts about contingency plans, including possible coaching replacements should Stefanski fail to adjust. The urgency reflects a stark reality. The Browns' ownership recognizes that the team cannot survive another season mired in quarterback controversy and organizational chaos. Meanwhile, the broader NFL hierarchy, including executives and even league office representatives, have reportedly expressed concern about the optics. The Sanders situation is no longer just a team issue. It has league-wide implications, affecting viewership, merchandise, and the narrative around Cleveland's management decisions. This intervention underscores a rare scenario where player talent, fan sentiment, and organizational pressure collide, placing every decision under a microscope. Stefanski is reportedly under unprecedented scrutiny, with his career in Cleveland hanging by a thread. The coming weeks could redefine the team's trajectory, either embracing Sanders as the face of the franchise or risking further dysfunction that could reverberate beyond Cleveland. With ownership actively engaged and the locker room in open rebellion, one thing is certain: this season is shaping up to be less about X's and O's and more about power, accountability, and survival within one of the NFL's most scrutinized organizations. The fallout from Sanders' explosive outbursts and the Browns' locker room chaos didn't stay in Cleveland. It quickly became a national spectacle. Within hours of the game, social media erupted, with hashtags like #FireStefanski and #JusticeForShedeur are trending across Twitter and Instagram. Analysts on ESPN, Fox Sports, and NFL Network devoted entire segments to dissecting the controversy, debating whether Sanders' benching was a strategic misstep or an organizational failure. Former players, coaches, and commentators weighed in, many openly siding with Sanders, emphasizing his talent and readiness to take over the starting role. The conversation wasn't just about one game. It became a larger debate about player empowerment versus coaching authority in the modern NFL. Reports suggest even league executives have quietly monitored the situation. According to insiders, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell personally reached out to Browns leadership, expressing concern about how the handling of Sanders could affect league-wide viewership, fan engagement, and overall brand perception. While the commissioner stopped short of dictating personnel decisions, the intervention signals just how extraordinary the situation has become. The league recognizes that a highly marketable rookie like Sanders, if sidelined, could shift attention, merchandise sales, and fan loyalty to other teams, potentially creating a ripple effect across the NFL. Meanwhile, scouts and front offices across the league reportedly have Sanders under intense observation. His performance, whether in practice or glimpses on game day, is being dissected with precision. Teams in need of a quarterback are aware that Cleveland's hesitation could present an opportunity. The perception that a future star is being mismanaged has turned what should be a local controversy into a nationwide talking point about talent evaluation, roster decisions, franchise accountability. The Browns saga has also sparked broader discussion among fans and media about leadership and team culture. How much control should a coach have? When does talent outweigh experience? And can a franchise survive, ignoring a player whose potential could immediately change outcomes? These questions dominate commentary circles, social platforms, and sports radio. Ultimately, Cleveland's internal struggles are no longer just a team issue. They're shaping national narratives about the NFL itself. The combination of Sanders' audacity, a fractured locker room, and high-stakes ownership scrutiny has created a scenario that transcends one loss or one season. The league, the media, and fans alike are now watching a high-stakes drama unfold, where the outcome could redefine both a player's career and the Browns' organizational reputation for years to come.